Tunda Jit Karasan, Tunda Jit Teres, Jabu Chemboro, Tejinto, Jiba Chembo Je, and the Wante, Tedale, Jubi Truban, Toji Duban, Nuji, Duban, Zedan Hadan, Peji Duba, Hawan Maino, Jikanshina, Gaire, Naire, Chire, Dubire, what the Pajamarbe, Chaganashi. Cheta Shinje de la Leta Numo, Cheta Shinje de la Tanichaga Nachi, Dunga del Truta Maris, Tion Shenegres, Gawatan. Gawas gave a child at the Marbe, Gawa give a child, Gawa dance. Then none can see Nasa the sugar Nasa to the Marvana.
That's so.
Chewasana day, Marbe day, dead day. Gubasana. Anjaganashi doing to Guba, Rani changing Guba to go. Rani changing Guba to go, so what the number in door? Guba. Guy doing it, Gubas and the Kazo quality as a Shinji and the Chi doing it, Guy doing it, she doing it, what to do, woman. Gubas or Guba. You attend Rani changing Guba to Mana changing and then Guji. You then Tanji Jetera, Jenji Zetres, Ranchibas in the Guba Tanji Gores, Guba, what in the Jiba Redo, Guba's Chaganachi doing us what to Guba la the Marba. Chesa Shinji de la, and a Guba to Yungres, Gubas. Tagawa, Nawa, Chewa, Guba, what the Jagal the Nazo, Chulu Sama Killing some of it. Kibicha, Tama Killing. And now Tama Kilangre, Chewa Sama Kilangre, Guba, and this Sama Kilang Jaganashi doing. You should not hear what the Namaka Chenmo do and Jim Dabandam do. The Zukalo, you should not look at Kilang world. Gawa, now the Chewa, Guba was up.
Then Rimche Goga Mabichi, the Gupa, the Ran Chenzing, the Gupa. Gupa Kejima yo maribe.
Gupa
KG yo maribe.
Chaganachi doing to the Machi, doing Guy doing Chi doing quality the Shinjitla, what is doing Guru, Chewa, Gawa, Shawa, what is Guba.
Okay, so then the long cabane, the group Lama Chupa, the ranch.
Lama Chupa, Shanji de Wagiro, Shanji Deva.
Okay.
Rani Chinuba Kunju Gosrava, and the Shanji de Waglo Euro.
Rani Chenzi Gupi Gunji Go. Okay, Rani Chenzi. Okay, so here, going back to the text, I'm just looking at a word that just one word, and I'm trying to get exactly right. Decay is the word, and it doesn't seem like it means what I think it does, just as a translator's note, and that's what's happening over here. You do not escape by fleeing from death, nor can you turn death away by such things as mantras. And then there's the advice of the King Sutra. So it says, for example, 4 great mountains from the 4 great directions, being hard, firm, solid, cord, indestructible, unsplittable, without fissures, extremely resilient and massed into one, rise up into the sky and destroy the earth. All the grasses, trees, branches, leaves, and all sentient beings, living beings, and creatures are crushed to dust. When these mountains come, they will not be easy to turn quickly and run away, or turn away with force of wealth, magic substances, mantras, or medicine. Great King, in the same way, these 4 frights comes, and is not easy to quickly run away, or to turn away with them with force, wealth, substances, mantras, or medicine. What are the 4? They are aging, sickness, death, and decay. Great King, aging comes and destroys youth, sickness comes and destroys health, decay comes and destroys all that is excellent, and death comes and destroys life. So here we're looking at aging. Aging is getting older, becoming an old every day. One is becoming older. So this is what aging is referring to. Sickness, if someone gets cancer or some kind of a disease, this destroys one's health. And then death. One is the dying and death, when one is dying or dead. So this is what death just destroys life, takes one's life. away altogether. And then decay here, it's torment. So gupa is torment in here. Is
Nama masang shobu juye na, masang shobu juye na, masang shobu reach. Shobu ko chubu chasuna, na reach. Masang ko guba is guba.
So it seems like decay. It is decay, but it's also translated here as torment. So decay, torment. If someone's rich, Rinpoche just gave the example. If someone is rich and then becomes poor, this is the decay of their wealth, loss of their wealth. And then Rinpoche quoted this, Rani Chenzing Gupa Gunji Go, from the Guru Puja. It states, since cherishing ourselves is the doorway to all torment. So torment has to be the gupa here. So it's translated in different ways in different places, but decay is the decline, or it's just got to be decline or decay. So that's it. Let me make sure I didn't leave anything out in my quest for this word. So we could say that scientists would assert these same things, that we have birth, we have aging, we have sickness, we have death, we have decay. So science would concur about this. Now, the reason why we have this, I'm not certain, according to science. Why science says we have this, I'm not certain. Scientists are very, very intelligent.
That's terrible capability and the gawas and also just again words. Courage
So we need to ask
what in the Tirina?
We need to ask those scientific scholars, why do we die? Why do we get sick? Why do we age? These are the questions we need to ask and find the answers to. And there are many reasons that can be stated.
Je kanshina gawa tan nawa tan chewa guba jidres wotage and ngaso jong wores jabu chembo gawa ne dala bawa jongshimos da gebo lo tambo lo ji ni son chujung ro then the lo ni shu son je cha sona and dala bawa de yora bol jong no marbe da jongshim wores nawa te ne me ba jong wores na du ne me ba jong da Guba the person soba tangje. Guba the Mazon Shubijina, Mazon Jobachasuna, and person soba than John Roses. Guba Tajin Johnson. Chewa and soon Johnson was this. Chewa the soon Jones. Soon see Dreadon, Nashet Tangan bows. And was so Chesuna, Shendro, da. Chewa the soon Jones.
Life force.
Chewa did the day that the day.
Less so.
Or Jack is a day in there. Shaku is dead day.
Okay. Yeah. So here it says that it speaks to these with specifics and what they destroy in the quote. It says that aging comes and destroys youth. So as we are 1 year old, and then 2 years old, and then we're 3 years old, and then 20 years old, and we become older and older and older, and that youth that we had when we were 1, 2, 3, 4. Is destroyed. So the aging process destroys youth, destroys our earlier years, because as we age, those earlier years are destroyed. So that's the first. Aging comes and destroys youth. Sickness comes and destroys health. So our general well-being, our health is destroyed by sickness. And then it says decay comes and destroys all that is excellent. So all goodness, all excellence is destroyed by the decay of it, it decaying. Death comes and destroys life. So the life force that we have is destroyed by death. So we are dying, and then we die. So we're in this process of dying, and then we die, and our life force is destroyed by death.
대달래 조비 조방스 조바시비요나 트렌타가 말했다. 제사 신제 들렀더니 나그래 게너그래 셴너그래 구너그래스 어떤 조비 트렌타가 말했어. 조바지나야 조비 타요 말했어. 시그레스 도제 도바 도제 도토 말했어. 다 떠진더네 기촌자나모 어떤 떠진요나 도토 말했어. 아니 어때 저거 다 몸에 요지래 너지 도방스 아니 잘라든 트레너든 심고 주도 말스 제단 다제 된 맛이 제 나무들 줘야 요 말스다 제단 제스나 다 가서 어때 제 몸으로 다 제당 하전에 마셔보수도 말이스 페이지 쇼와 하원 많이 놓사 어디서 그냥 가서 좀 봐이나야 네 쇼와데 가 렐합 말 하원 많이 놓사 셰소사 렐합 말이스 당고물로는 이나는 가시스 처린탄도 하원 많이 셰소 어디 손지 손지야 다 나와 셔와 구바 어디서 가로 주로 삼아 키내서로 세리바 키내는 거다. 그 사지 중으로 다.
So here we have aging, sickness, death, and decay, and this is something that Buddhists assert, but also something that the scientific tradition would assert. And then, so this is Buddhism's explanation of its assertion, of the explanation of it. So we would find this, and then here it says what all these things destroy, and then it says it is not easy to quickly turn away from them, or to turn them away with force or wealth, or quell them with substances, mantras, or medicine. It says not easy because we find the story of Nagarjuna and the ability to quell the short lifespan with the use of those things. But it says it's not easy to turn away from them or quickly run away from them. An example is this, the prophecy of him living to only 7 and living to 700 as a note. And then here it says turn them away with a force, with brute force, or with money, trying to give one's things to try to stop it or to quell it with giving substances or mantras or medicine. So this is what's meant by that. It's very difficult.
나와도 채워도 그거데 가르치는 레던 요모 공학에서 라고지로 말해. 레던 요모 뭐게 제자 신지들아 안 게는 그래. 나용 그래. 신의 그래. 그는 그래서
aging, sickness, death.
내가 그녀 법이 된 거서 대이사 말해. 내가 그녀 법이도 레던 요모 그녀를 되는 중 인사. 안 개비차는 그래. 나용 그래. 신의 그래. 그는 그래서 주제 대이 말해.
So the origin of suffering, when Buddha stated this is the Arya superior truth of suffering, was speaking to the point that the karma and the afflictions are what gives rise to this the later nyomo the gunjum papi dembo jawa
나마 산제비 레던 요모 제자 신지들라 개그래 개부
Oh, okay. So
나그래 시그래 그거 그너레스
Lesso.
주선 가르스
Lesso.
레던 요모 조임베시
Lesso.
주선 대이제
So what is the reason that we have this aging, sickness, death, and decay? The reason that we have this aging, sickness, death, and decay is that superior truth of origin. Where the Buddha stated this is the superior truth of origin, and then showed that the origin of suffering is karma and the afflictions. So the karma and afflictions give rise to aging, sickness, death, and decay. So if there is karma and afflictions, there is necessarily aging, sickness, death, and decay, because that is the origin of aging, sickness, death, and decay.
So
what do other religious traditions state? What does science state? We need to check and look.
What then Kosan Motan
So if we can think a lot about this, it will be very good.
that and the Jabu Chembo, Tala, go on the Talapoban Jonshin, now and then Nemaban Jonshin, Guban the Person Subataji, Jonshin, Choane, Su Jonshin one day. The Dale Jubi Truban, Doji Duban, Nuji Duban, Zetan, Hatan, Penji, Shawatan, Mayinosa. There's a car Lila Maris, Saji Sunguro.
So the Buddha stated that it's not easy to run away from them, run away from the death, aging, sickness, and decay with force, wealth, or substances, mantras, or medicine. So the Buddha stated this.
That Kama is in as Kama is in Kama Bata, Baby Kiba Jinjir. Kama is in Tata Chevi Jiba Gushin, Tata Nasu Chevala Shiba Guri, she now Google is. Chekalama Masawashi Gubala, will get the lead dune, Tata Manjishin, Cheka, Tala Samandeva, Samande de Song Osa. And then as one Tanda Chua de Abbot and Dunga Jupoya, the Wag Juju, Otanjena, Shekalam Segamaris, Gabu Yungure, Toba Juba Yungumaris, Nasu Tele Dune, Tana. Shigo Mare, Shikalam Transamdeva, Dunga More.
So a great master, a great Tibetan master named Kamapa said, now we should be frightened by death. At the time of death, we should be fearless. We are the opposite. We are not afraid now, and at the moment of death, we dig our fingernails into our chest. So we should now be mindful that we're going to die and be afraid of it. At the time of death, we shouldn't have that fear because we're certainly going to die. But the opposite's true in that at the time of death, we become very frightened and scared because we haven't we become frightened and scared.
That never check this, never check thought on what one, never the check there, Chedang never like Jenko do to maybe what the San Marba. That neighbor. Sala never mentioned the Machitu. We have some bus, Juseniba to Mari, Juseniba. Tang as Shagares, Jusen Carras, Juseniba, Sala never mentioned the Machitu, Yobes. Sala never mentioned Rujala Ayuna, take on never jar your Marisita. And then could children dinnerless, and then load the Dawa Juni, and and Dawa Tambi, Sebaji, Dosasuna, Logi, the Vigi, no Chinsamarba, Logi, the Marda, Shabachi Chinsabro, Sebani, Cotelino de Jagro, then as donors, the Jipa Machi to Yabas, what things are Marba, Loden Dog to Dawa the Shag to Shad and Hadutan, Shadutan, Gondro, Moni, no Nagativa, what the Kolukua nas donuers. Sela never mentioned the Jipa Machi to Yabes, but I mustn't never the shit there, never the Chiva in there. Sela never mentioned the Jipa Machi to Yabes. You say neighbor in somebody. You say neighbor, Dodo the Nadiana, Mombaka Mangana, that Dodo the Nadiana Abadua. Mother Shagares, Chedang Napola, Jane Conga to do to maybe down that GG. That not to never the Shagares. Sell never message by Machi to Yabes.
So there are reasons that are given, three specifically for the first point that death is certain. And the first reason is death is certain because the Lord of Death will definitely come and therefore cannot be avoided. So that's the first perfect reason that's given. Second, death is certain because our lifetime cannot be extended and constantly diminishes. So we can live perhaps 100 years or so, but our life is always constantly diminishing. This year is made up of 12 months. So a year passes, it means 12 months have passed, and the first month begins the disintegration of that year. So the first month begins the diminishing of those 12 months that diminishes the year. Just like the days are almost take up, what's the word? Consume? I think they use consume. So a year is consumed by a passage of 12 months. And it begins with that first month, consuming that year, and then it speaks of the day being, the morning being consumed by the day, and the day being consumed by the night. So there's this constant process that diminishes our life. Because we're constantly passing time, if you will. So the years are taken away from us, and every time one passes, our lifespan diminishes, and we move closer to that maximum kind of potential of 100 years or so.
바두카도 모비용 거를 애도 줘발래 다다 레바 대화 용수 소나스 다다 대화 레바 용수 소나 가서 메시데 네 매야부사 칼라트도 야부사 최대 야부제나 안에 로자 장 중세 지 하버지 초호사 다른 가서 저부터 최대 야부제 매야부사 안에 칼라트도 야부사 최대 야부제나 로자를 때를 하버 되거든요. 로자 중세지 하버 초호사 로자를 때를 뭐 되거든요. शेषों रेंथा तसारे रेंथा तसारे मातो तेल लाव देग मारे रेंथा तसाशी येनो होसा तो तो छोजां से ता गासो लोजा देबा इनाया जा दे तो छोजां ती बाजी छंजेबा शिंदो न्योदेस लोजा देबा इना सोको जोन रेade ne chujuda na jubu yenderis nyodo lonen dayu zelas da juni nan da ji duzun loji gara dun saro da ni bal tele dun gare jubu dun gare sada dayu ze ji dawa sha son yun zelas dawa ji le shabu son jure da nan ji ni son jubu dun gare se 샤장 님은 쳔모 소유 이제 도사 샤다 님은 쳔모 그래 노노도 나이트 그래 어떻게 님만 좋은 데서 저다 레장 다 님한테 하루도 셔도 공주서 어떻게 좋은 데서 말봐 소비 소유 제베나 체이체네 체는 용라서 체체 용용시 nyonyoreese tala nga tomashi se nashin tana nga so loja deba ina tana tenhen lo mombo chintabares se tsares se lama nyoba geji jang meba sa lo mombo chintabare nde tabare ane se nyoba geji jang meba 저건 저 rinpa shabuji ni so momozo morzoya yo marota keji jam mebara de jinsa hudu ris marba de ni se gudo ba ma che do mo ishede sa ko 춘도 다나 찾는 주부 주셔들스 저저 골고잖아 타타타타 아주 무슨 돈을 얻었어 쉬운죽은 원장 말에 쉬운죽 니센데바 용매베 선데 다도 근주신스 어때서 송도나 쉬운죽 송도스 쉬운죽에 니센데바 용매바스 는 아주 무슨 로자데야 여바 이나야 니센 고 대가 말고 다와다 냐마다 샤다 어떻게 그 누구도 쳐들다는 존재스 말이야. 용매봐. 진짜 다도 근주신스. 진짜 다발 통통통통으로 잡았어. 말이야. 근주신. 되바 그나 오면나스. 되바 and Yenda Yuma Maris. That Chewa Jimin that Naron Chewa Jishin Menjite, Chewa she gures. What is Sheson behaviors? What about Jishan Mara?
So here, so the death is certain because our lifetime cannot be extended and constantly diminishes. So where does Lama Tsongkhapa get this information from? So we find a quote from the Kangjur, from the Descent into the Womb Sutra. So it's from the Pronouncements of Lord Buddha section. And it says, currently, if we protect our bodies well in order to live comfortably, we will live at the longest 100 years or a little more. So here it's saying, no matter what we do within this lifetime to protect our bodies or to stay healthy, we are really only going to live about a maximum of 100 years. So this is the quote from the Descent into the Womb Sutra. And it says, then, thus the maximum is no more than this. Even though it may be possible to live this long, the time until death passes very quickly. So even if one does live that 100 years, that is not a long time because it's constantly diminishing, and then suddenly 100 years will be over very quickly. And it says a year is consumed with the passage of months, months with the passage of days, days with the passage of day and day and night. Also with such periods of time as morning, etc. So the morning being consumed by the afternoon, and the afternoon being consumed by the night, and then another day is consumed by the next day. So it's just constantly moving forward, and time is lessening. Our time here is lessening, is diminishing. Thus, few of us reach the extended lifespan of 100 years. So most people don't even get to live that long. For much of our lifespan seems to be finished already. And what remains cannot be extended even for a moment. Life diminishes day and night without a break, so it is constantly diminishing. There isn't any stopping, there isn't a pause. We are constantly moving towards death, and our lifespan is lessening, and we're closer to death, and we can't extend that. And then there's a quote from Shantideva's Bodhicharya Avatara, the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, where Shantideva states that this life is constantly lost day and night without pause, and there is nothing which can extend it. Why should death not come to someone like me? So Shantideva is reiterating the fact that we are constantly diminishing our lifespan. Life is constantly lost, day and night without a pause. So morning and night, every part of the day, our lifespan is decreasing. How long we're going to live is diminishing. At every moment that passes, we're we are diminishing our life. So it says, and there's nothing which can extend it. Why wouldn't I die? Why wouldn't someone like me die? Someone who is a being that has the nature of dying.
Dijo Goma do Mare, and Sene, Chusokul Kudana Zun Ware, and the Nashi Wars, but in the Santon Wars, Dada Chawa, Jimajurus, or Daisy Marve, Chamata Consulta Nismo, Chugane to Shena Consulta, Machine Consulti, Shena Consulta Dada.
So here, this is the certainty that one is going to die. And then once one begins to recognize this, then it says this life is constantly lost day and night without pause, then one will want to recognize that suffering and misdeeds are caused by virtue, and virtue causes happiness. I'm sorry, let me start that over. One will recognize that virtue is the cause for happiness, and non-virtue the cause for suffering. And recognizing that one will certainly die, then this causes one to, and that one's life is constantly diminishing, causes one to practice virtue because of the wish to achieve the happiness that it causes. Later on it says something.
대양 부드미 군의 상태 부드미 군의 상태 당아서 타타바이나 타서 블랭크지 블랭크를 남아 버리나 고 타타근데게 네 대바로들 뭐 자마를 두스타고 근데 블랭크지 고야요 군조부지 찬고 다 대상 저자는 들 와서로 저 다로 그 타마를 조부조도 근데 버자도 말베 Bena Budimi Gune Sante da Tatabana Blankety Marva Tatabana Lede Punjamare Le Mandrians Nudo Tasine Wata Nudo Tas Jobutane and Blankety Quanos Conjobu Zulus Lunus Suzuda Novres Lola Suba Sejana Subi Shirtibana Kumara Bebe Chiwala Genin Roas, that Lucia the Cotin Ruba in the Kamara Shell Taniman what the Dobris. Chuno Tabi, Jun Baba, Reze Kane, Chubaba Jin, Senior to Senen Roa dancer. Should they Yubazones, Tanga to Kiaba Marba? Should you Yubazone? Shuna, Rameba, Ranganes, Jivatar, and then now at Gawe, Rameba, Shedak from Chidris. Now at Gawe, Rameba, Chedak from to Chibi, Tuna, go to Mane, Gumbashate, what the Anton Jungle water, Mahodam, but the Tishi in the Mara.
So then it says, contemplate this with many examples. And then it says, when weaving a cloth, and previously in Tibet, when weaving a cloth, they didn't have the big machines if one wanted to make a blanket that makes it so easy now. It was thread by thread. So here it says, weavers use no more than one piece of thread each pass, yet they quickly finish weaving the cloth. So Rinpoche is saying blanket. So this blanket is only one thread at a time, but then it is finished, and then suddenly it can be used as a blanket. Someone can put it over themselves, and then there's a blanket, but there's only one thread at a time. So this is similar to the passing of time, how it quickly passes and then suddenly it's finished. And likewise, when animals such as sheep are led to slaughter, they move closer to death with every step. So then this is another example of life constantly diminishing. An animal, every step that animal takes closer to the slaughterhouse, they're closer to their death. So likewise, we are every moment that passes. They move closer to death with every step they take. The water carried by the current of a strong river or the water in a waterfall on a steep mountain quickly disappears. Just as in these examples, your life is quickly spent and gone. Just as when herdsmen pick up their sticks, or as Rinpoche likes to say, cowboys, pick up their sticks, their livestock helplessly follow them home. So they have no independence. Their livestock just have to do under the control of their the herdsmen or cowboys. So sickness and aging lead you helplessly into the presence of the Lord of Death. So one is led in the same way right to the Lord of Death by sickness and aging. In this way, meditate on the certainty of death from many perspectives. So use many reasons and examples to meditate upon this certainty that one is going to die and that one is moving. Lifetime can't be extended and is currently diminishing. It currently diminishes. And then there's a quote from the Kangjur section of Sutra, the collection of indicative verses, Karma Ngayure.
Yeah. Tana Jambala, Pune Kantan Kanchubi, Puji Tala Tuba, Dar Manasusinos, Tatana, Tajubu to the Nazi, and then have made suit the Japanese. What is
Right, okay. So then now we're going to read each stanza of the collection of indicative verses. So the first stanza says, for example, just as when weaving a cloth you reach the end, by weaving individual courses, so too is human life. So this is the, when one is weaving individual courses and then quickly finishes a cloth, likewise one has moments that pass and then life diminishes. So is too the human life. Shiluka Tambo Sash?
Puna Neba Sebata, Puna Neba Sebata, and the Neba Seag sentient to Galo, Tinduzuna, and the Kukama Ribu Shell Tanimuduro. Puna Neba Sebata, Comba Kantan Campo, Campo Bay, the Sebi Tonto, Nebatara, Manasut and Tejinos, Mesut Buddhist.
Shiloka Nipa.
Nipa.
Okay. For example, just as those who are killed come closer to the killing place with every step they take, so too is human life. So as every moment passes, one is moving closer to death in the same way that an animal that is marching or being marched towards the slaughterhouse is moving closer to its death, his or her death at that moment.
Tatan Manasut and Tejin, Chulu Tato Pope, June, Duba Member Jetawa. Me Tejin me Centroa, Han Duban Joa Mess, Han Duban Joa Me, Kawa Nita, Tuatan, Kawa Nita Tuatan, Teyan, Dunga Dembata, Nua Kona Jijute, Chula, Yugu Treba Jin, Nyoto Osa. Nyedu shuzero shuzu, nyedu shuzu yoto je shu na nesu shiji tar tejin nana gawayi menas tejin nada gawayis nada gaway tama ter shita zmo nada gayi jujen shibala tene mena jubu chon duras cheda tontu je shesmo bataro sa.
Just as the strong downward current of a river cannot be reversed, so too the movement of human life is irreversible. So life is moving towards death. That can't be reversed, just like the water that's running strongly down current. It just can't be reversed and move up. Life is hard, brief, and full of suffering. It vanishes so quickly like the water, like that written on the water with a stick. Just as livestock go home when their herdsmen raise their sticks, so sickness and aging lead humans to the Lord of Death. So aging and sickness, just like the herdsman raising the stick, leads sentient beings to death, to dying. So these are all from the collection of indicative verses, which is a sutra that supports Lama Tsongkhapa's assertions about the diminishing of our life and the lack of ability to extend it. So it looks like we're out of time for today. Just everyone remember that tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. we will be doing the Mahayana one-day vows, Teichen Sojong Idumba, in celebration of the Sakadawa, to commemorate Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and passing into nirvana. So we'll be doing the one-day vows at 5 a.m. because they have to be done before the sunrise. And then it completes at sunrise the next morning. So it's a 24-hour vow. So that begins at 5 a.m. And then at 7 p.m. that evening, we'll be doing a Guru Puja offering. And that will be because it's Sakardawa, and also to commemorate and acknowledge the fact, if you will, that we have received these beautiful texts of these Lama Tsongkhapa's collected works, as well as Kirchup and Gyaltsabje's collected works, as well, and also Drepung Losang Ling's textbooks. So we had the party for the Kangjur and Tanjur, so we're going to use this occasion to also, just out of respect, celebrate the fact that we have these beautiful texts. And it's very fitting to do a Guru Puja because the Guru Puja is written for Lama Tsongkhapa, and Lama Tsongkhapa is where the lineage of all the books that we just mentioned comes from. So all of the texts of Losang Ling are because of Lama Tsongkhapa. All of the texts of Kirchup and Gyaltsabje are because of Lama Tsongkhapa. So it's very fitting that we do a Guru Puja to Lama Tsongkhapa to celebrate these wonderful works. So that's that. And then Tuesday night, We have our normal Introduction to Buddhism class, and we are going to begin Rinpoche's commentary on the source of all my good, the foundation of all good qualities. So that's another very exciting text, and showing how the Lamrim Chenmo serves as the outline for that very condensed work. So it's going to be a very beautiful teaching on the source of all my good. So why don't we do some concluding prayers? Concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lobsang Drakpa to shine forever. I send forth this jewel mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times. I also dedicate all of my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land, surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara, Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, a spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Tuji Rinpoche, Gutsi Shapi Tenrona.
Okay.
Send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Idam Guru Radha Mandala Gandhi Radhayami Chadanjali Janam La Janju Badu Dani Jazu Yin Nagi Jinye Jibe Zonam Ye Rola Menje Zanye Chadan Yi Janam La Janju Badu Dani Jazu Ji Nai Jinye Jibe Zonam Ye Rola Benye Zanye Ruvayo Chadan Yi Janam La Janju Badu Dani Jin Dagi Jinye Jibe Zananye Nyola Benye Zanye Ruvayo. So today is part of the celebration of the month of Sakadawa, and today is the Gare, the Juni. Oh, today is the 14th, I'm sorry, the 14th day on the Tibetan calendar. Tomorrow being the 15th day, being the celebration of the specific day that we celebrate. So it's very good.
Tangaso the Adishaka Lamrim Jelmashi Telma, Lamrim Donat Mateba Saji, Jeti, Chungusuma, Zebabichua, Dangala Kuwaji Chuchiwa, Chawani and Jula Jita, Dambango Loma Jeta Treasure, Saji Marba, Damusum Samarba, that Dambango Loma Jeta Treasure, but the largest Ocean Sudan, then the Lucitation Ribaniche. Then the Lucitation Ribatala, Tayutan and Himbelam Goa, Himbajeta Lemsus. Himbajeta Lemisutala, then the Marva. Lanchi, Najal Nabajeba, Himbelan Sumuni, Lanchi, Najal Nabajebatala, Jeboson Jalan to Sora San Sudan, and Casa Himbelan Sumuni. That the Himbelan Sumutala, Nibelan Sumutla Nimarva,
Jinsengu.
Ah,
The Nibelan Ni.
Nirva, Nidkara.
Jutsen Gupa.
Or Jusen to Gubani Jirva, Jusen to Gubani. That the Himbelan the Kasura, Jebuchung and Marvachung,
Chungu Din Dan Chembo.
Chungu the Tomo Laji Zambala, Chungu the Tomo is Sambajama, Din the Tomo Laji Zambala Sambajama, Jebichimi Laji Zambala Sambajama, Sonje, Chungu did the Chujubi, Jebuson Sia, Dimmer. Chungu the Tomo Laji Zambala Lojamantala, and the Sambajama Down, then somebody Jebit, then Hibilas Yungani Marba. That's Sambajama Mutala. Zaman Jite Shama Tony Lujibatan, Jite Shama di Tau Temples, such as Niji, Jite Shama Tony Lujibatala, Jiten the Yadumreba, Chawa Jesu Temple Kumbatan, Jite Shama Duani Dudu Jesu Temple, such as Niji. That Jite
Lotuka. Jibuchung Sampa say Dan Lotukaba.
or Lotuka, somebody Jibit, tell Lotuka Sunrova,
Data.
Sonje. That Samba Jama said, that Jiten Shema Tuneje, Samba Jama, Jiten Shema di Tau Temples.
Less so? Okay.
That Jiten Shema Tuneje, Samba Jama said, that Jawa Shema Latame, there's a Tunanabe, San Lutal Jean Ures. Samba Jama said, what is a marbe? Jiten Shema Tuneje Lojibas.
Less so?
What is it? Jiten Shema di Tau Temples.
Less so?
Jiten Shema di Tau Da Latame, there's not to be Tau Jukares.
Less so?
Don't you want to Gune? Then Mogajum Susan Kanto Jutusun and Sumatun Devalashatanchia. Jiten Shema di Tau said, what is a marbe?
Less so?
Or the Ruru she, Jana.
So again, we were looking at the great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. That is a commentary on Atisha's lamp for the path to enlightenment. And this text begins with the outline of the material that will come. So it begins with this outline of four categories, and they're actually called the four greatnesses. The greatness of the teaching's author, referring to Lord Atisha, the greatness of the teaching itself, referring to the lamp for the path to enlightenment, the great way to listen to and explain the teachings, how to listen, how to give the instruction the proper way, and then how to lead students in the actual instructions. So we've gone through the three first categories, and now we're on the fourth category of how to lead students on the actual instructions. And that begins with the teacher, how to rely upon the teacher that is the root of the path, and then how to train one's mind in the stages of the path after one has relied on the teacher. So the stage of the path after one has relied on the teacher. So in the section on the stage of the path, path on, once one has relied on a teacher, we find two categories: the exhortation to take full advantage of a life of leisure and opportunity, and then how to take full advantage of a life of leisure and opportunity. And then in that second section of how to take full advantage of a life of leisure and opportunity, we find two categories: how to develop certain knowledge of a general presentation of the path, and then the actual way to take full advantage of a life of leisure and opportunity. How to develop certain knowledge of a general presentation of the path has two categories. First category is how all instructions are included within the teachings for beings of three capacities. So this is the first category. And then the second category is the reason that students are led in these stages. So the purpose or the reason that students are led in the stages. And then that section has two categories: the actual purpose and then reason, which are divided into two categories. So the purpose and then why, and then purpose and the second section, which is why, has actual reason and purpose as well as subcategories. So then that's the general presentation of the path. That second category, the actual way to take full advantage of a life of leisure and opportunity, has 3 points or 3 categories that are made. First is training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of small capacity. Second is training the mind in the stage of the path with beings of medium capacity. And the third is training the mind in the stages of the path for beings of great capacity. So the first category, training the mind in the stage of the path of beings shared in common with beings of small capacity, has 3 categories. The first category is the actual training of the thought of a person of small capacity. The second is the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity. And then third is clearing up misconceptions concerning the attitude of a person of small capacity. So that has 3 specific categories. So that first category, the actual training of a thought for a person of small capacity, has 2 categories. First, developing a state of mind that strives diligently for the sake of future lives, and second, relying on the means for achieving happiness in the next life. So the first category here, it says developing a state of mind. This is a state of mind that strives diligently to achieve rebirth in the higher realms of the gods and the humans in one's future life. So the goal or the motivation of this person, the state of mind of this person, is one that strives diligently to achieve a higher realm rebirth. And then the second category shows the method or means in which one can achieve that higher realm rebirth in his or her future lives. So it says the means for achieving happiness. Happiness here is referring to rebirth in the higher realms in this context. Here, means is cause. What is the cause? What are the practices that lead to that result? And here, we rely on the practices of going for refuge to the 3 jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, engaging in the ethics, which abandons the 10 non-virtuous activities, and then engaging in a confession or acknowledgement of one's downfall if one has engaged in negativity. So this is the means for the achievement of happiness, happiness referring to the higher realm rebirth. So here, this is the 3/4 of the outline down page 144 in the English text, and a partial explanation of it. Please.
Dan jiden de yön de mene ba chowa jesu jamatla jemarba chowa made chowa de ma gombi nyeme gombi pen chowa de lu cheta ba shi jeba chowa de ma gombi chu saji jero jemarba ta chowa de ma gombi nyeme del tan de ba jendal saji to des mo o de chinsarwa ta pen de la sun
leso
de chowa ta pasun so ba ta je go lotu sewa zung jinsarwa ta somba chewa dama luchi tabashi chebas chewa dama luchi tabashi chebas ade wate imba ta chewa dama lutala tene chogi nesu shene chewa madaba tensu chi dama chogi nesu ma shene 처음에 답을 tensuini waris. Chugi nesu mashibachi, ta ngashen kare, shesuna pamata ten kare, pinjata ten kare, drupata ten kare, kambata ten kare, jalata ten kare. Sana what the chaw tempate, what the tensu maris, what the chugi nesu machine tetabi chaw temba to gubayo maris, the chaw tene, chaw kantu maris. The one garden was not that quality junde, quality junde. And Demaji Nada to the Dogan Jutan, the Ujo, Dendu Landan, Tabi Landan, Sanji go to the Lang Nasu Nashe, or Tanga Shesuna, and then the Wagijo and the Gamo Drew Mare, Dogan Jutibam Sasa, what is she not Jebina, and the Dogan Jutan, the Wagiju Shedu, and Dogan Kayake, and Dogan Jo, and kazo lena nyomoba the tatuna demo maruba denzi maruba what the denzi nyebo tumba nyoya an dongen nga ba nyu samba what the gumba la tene chimagoba shikalam chwala maraba yungure gaba yungure tene joba me yungure what the sunu maruba what the kaza Chero, remember you, Chero drummer, Chero town, I am the Wajabamoni drums one.
This Sumba. Okay.
Sumba, yeah.
So, the first category, developing a state of mind that strives diligently for the sake of future lives, has two categories. The first category being mindfulness of death, contemplation, and that you will not remain long in this world. And second, the contemplating what will occur in the future life, the happiness or suffering of the two types of beings. So these are the two categories under that. And then the first category, the mindfulness of death, contemplation that you will not remain long in this world, has 4 points that are made, or 4 categories. First is the faults of not developing or cultivating the mindfulness of death. The second is the benefit of cultivating mindfulness of death. The third is the kind of mindfulness of death that one should cultivate. And the fourth is the how to cultivate mindfulness of death section. So we went through the first, which is the faults of not cultivating mindfulness of death. And looking at other commentaries, we found that there are 6 points that are made within that section. So we finished that. And then the next section, dealing with the benefits of cultivating mindfulness of death, we then found the 3 points that are made within that. First point is that it has great meaning, or it's very meaningful. The second point that's made is that it is the gateway or the entrance or doorway into all of that is excellent, or all excellence. And then the third is dispelling any lutuka, any kind of wrong views or wrong, any kind of misconceptions relative to these points. So these are the 3 points that are made in the benefits of developing a mindfulness of death. And then the third section, the kind of mindfulness of death that one should cultivate, deals with the actual, what that mindfulness of death is, the actual mindfulness that one is trying to develop, and dispelling the inappropriate or inaccurate ways of cultivating mindfulness of death. So then in this section it shows how that one needs to recognize that the nature of phenomena, impermanent phenomena, is extinction. And then when we recognize that we are impermanent, and the nature of an impermanent being, which is an impermanent phenomena, an impermanent being, is that he or she dies. So that a being's nature is that that being will die. So this is part of the nature. So that one, when we're looking at the kind of mindfulness that should be developed, it's a kind of mindfulness that recognizes the death and what causes happiness, what causes suffering, and recognizing what impermanence means by analyzing the Four Noble Truths. When we die, we will be separated from our friends, we will be separated from our house, we will be separated from our cars, we will be separated from all the things that we love, and we will certainly die. There's no avoiding the fact that we are going to die, and this separation will happen. And once we recognize that this is the nature, then we won't cling to these things. So the wrong type of mindfulness is to be afraid to be separated from the things of this life. Be afraid to be separated from the friends. The correct way to develop a mindfulness of death is to analyze the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, the truth of origin, the truth of path, and the truth of cessation, and recognize the aspects of the cause and effect relationships found within the Four Noble Truths, and recognize that first in the Four Noble Truths we find the teaching on impermanence, and then we find the teaching that explains the origin of suffering. And we find that karma and the afflictions are what give rise to suffering, are what are the cause of suffering. So then one is beginning to understand the nature of phenomena, the nature of a being, by indulging or by engaging in this analysis, and recognizing that the karma and the afflictions are arisen from the denzin, from the grasping at true establishment, and that the antidote to the grasping at true establishment is meditation upon emptiness. And then once one starts to develop this understanding that karma and the afflictions give rise to this negativity, and that the grasping is what causes the karma and the afflictions, then one begins to develop a renunciation or desire to definitely emerge from these things. So then one starts to turn towards virtuous activities as a result of this analysis, as a result of the knowledge and the wisdom that understands the nature of the beings. One is propelled into virtuous activities and wishes to abandon non-virtuous activities, because one recognizes when studying the Four Noble Truths that suffering is caused by non-virtue, and that happiness is caused by virtue. So the accumulation of misdeeds causes suffering, and the accumulation of virtue causes happiness. So when one begins to recognize this, then one's behavior is modified. So this is the kind of mindfulness of death that one should cultivate, one that recognizes the nature of a being and impermanence and so forth. And when we look at this section, we find two quotes that are support this idea. We find a quote from the Jataka Tales, the Jataka Mala by Lopun Bao, also known as Arya Shura, also known as Arya Shura. Here it says that we go through these stages of being frightened and scared. There's no benefit of being scared if we're going to die no matter what, and that fear, one has to analyze the nature of the world, and that the reason humans regret death is because they haven't done so, and the fear clouds their minds, and that one won't have regret if one understands the nature of things and as a result has practiced. So we find that in Arya Shura's quote from the Jataka Mala, the Garland of Birth Stories, and then Arya Deva's 400 verses, we find a very short quote that supports this material as well. This is the third section, dealing with the kind of meditation one should cultivate, and it shouldn't be a worry that one will separate from one's relatives and things. It should be one that's based, because that's a fear based on strong attachment, and it should be something that is based on an analysis of the nature of things.
Wata chawa naba gumbi, lu chetabu shi cheba sayato, chawa mataba cheba gumbi, chawa mataba cheba sanglu tala chugine su ma shen ten su chi tang, chugine su shen ten su nyi wara, chugine su shen chawa mataba trena yaburis, wata katutu wata.
So once, so we have the quote from the 400 Arya Deva, the great master Arya Deva's 400 stanzas, and the quote from the wonderful teacher Lopun Bao, the Garland of Birth Stories, that supports the idea that once one understands the nature of Dharma, or the nature of phenomena, Chu can be translated either way, Dharma, phenomena, But in this case, maybe Dharma is more of a better. Once one understands the nature of Dharma, then the mindfulness of death will be an appropriate mindfulness of death. It's based on that accurate understanding of the nature of Dharma. So those who understand their Dharma, the nature of Dharma, won't have this sort of regret. So we find Geshe Rinpoche quoting the Garland of Birth Stories by Lopun Pao and quoting the great master Arya Deva's 400 verses, were stating that so if someone understands the nature of Dharma and understands that I will die, I'm going to certainly die, then he or she, when we say understands the Dharma, nature of Dharma, the Dharma could be referring to other religious traditions. So if he or she is a Christian, for instance, then he or she would throw themselves or begin to engage in the practices of Christianity out of a recognition that one will die, and understanding that by the nature, by studying their Dharma and understanding that by nature we will die. This then, that understanding that I will die, then propels them into practice, whether it be to practice Christianity or to practice the Muslim tradition or the Hindu tradition, and in our case is the Buddhist tradition. So this is why we have these supporting quotes that state that once one understands the nature of Dharma, then one practices and there really isn't any regret. And then then those who don't know this nature could have regrets or have worries. So the fear that arises in a Buddhist when he or she thinks, I will die, I am certainly going to die, then causes, so in the cases of the other traditions, that fear causes them to engage in the practices of the other religious traditions. In the Buddhist tradition, that fear propels us into practicing the practices mentioned before, going for refuge to the three jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, engaging in the ethics which abandons the 10 non-virtuous activities, and acknowledging our downfalls. And by doing these practices, we can be free from the lower realm rebirth. This is how understanding this nature from a Buddhist perspective, that fear propels us into practice, and this is the appropriate mindfulness of death. So other religious traditions are very similar because they state you go for refuge to Jesus or God and then engage in the engage in the practices, study go to refuge to God and then engage in the study and engage in the practices. One will be able to go to heaven. So we find very similar concept in other religious traditions.
타지바 송주고네 시도스 말바 저와드바 공부주 저와드바 공부주 저 가지에서나 송 말바 자와송 주생고 타지바 송로다 다 자와송데 자와송 조서나 네 나바치와 상바세 나바치 레다 녀모 레다 녀모 그 저자 신제들라 나바치 그레스 레다 녀모 그 저와 이르 어떤 상마인지로다 저자 신제들라 나바치 그레스 나바치와 상바 자 담보지 나바치와 상바 나바치와 저자 신제들라 시그레스 네 세제 갈 제그레 제 세제 갈 신그레스 제 세제 갈 셔와데 그 세제기 균이레스 매전도 뭐 매이 균이 초토도 뭐 균이 나지 어디 제사 신제들라 안에 마셔베데 도와요 가도 말레스 그 균이레스 어디 말에 내가 쳐서 한번스 자와지지 자와 담보지
Leso.
다 나치라 내가 매바 상바스 안에 셰드 셰그레데 다 가두 셰그레스나 론델 셰그레 로제마 셰그레 네 하드 셰그레 와터 자지 당소 나치라 내가 요마레스 나치라 내가 요마레스 번ang 아주 다 저도 제난 샬르바보 론자물레 노발랑슈 샹다메네 리제 셰도 리제 샹다메네 샹다메네 맞조컬로 네 로 치세 동레스 그 세제가 지바 샹다메네 맞조컬로 로지도 지바 마도 지도 말롱 건시는 게 요마레스 다메네는 쳇동데스 다메네는 쳇동레스 ndana mange tamane lochu tombo badmes dan zamul lemba shalwa len dan lonza
New balance.
no balance to so nachil ngeba me baris sel si ngeba yo maris
Chu Yomari.
kaji loge bi shegre kaji lochu jon konshene water ngeba yo maris
like that cheap the Natsu Zamlin cheaper.
shang damen yema ngeba res mar damen yen tsetontes magalo ton maduba shirmares zamane da shale baba do zamane tuzule ngeba yomares
John Dramanyen Chitong.
chitong onzo de so damane so tonte dena mange taman loju ton padmes den zamale ba dal dena ngeba yomar tambo sulba meres be serimbo den samandi ne 안 솔주와서 뭐라 처린 쉬었던 놀죠. 어떤 해야 와서 언제도 좀 되시고.
There's need to
다 차리면서 가르치고 나고 말어.
Then the Gongyo Mebuchi Rinpoche, the Dead Sianger Suralong, the Chitong Gare, the Jang Dram.
샹담이 봐요.
Okay, then
그걸로 츠이세 가지래. 로까지 되거든요. 로동동 되거든요.
Then the Seton Kagi.
다 잠을렘바 때는 내봐요 말해서 담부 쩨베 서림브레스 되는 갈레에서 만디네 되는 로 설로 줘봐서 로줘 쩨세 로줘 받은 줄스 너나 망에 담았네 저 돈받으면 가서 담부 쩨베 림브레스 되는 마을 쩨 만디네 설로 줘봐서
Then a Charlu Pop New Balanchu Dan Lo Zambaling Kanga Nyep Yomari. Okay.
Zambaling, Shalubali, no Balanchu Metuzukalo, Shawal Mangabaris, then say you gave a shinner, Kajin Dinshire, Kaji Shun Shinner, Natural Nabamis.
There's some Kanga Chipa. Drapodu. Okay. So the next, okay, so let me just rewind here. We've gone over that death is certain. So first, we recognize in looking at this. Let me rewind here. So now we've gone through this section about the kind of mindfulness of death that one should cultivate, and now we are in the section 4 of how, on page 148, of how to cultivate mindfulness of death. So here we have cultivate this by way of 3 roots, 9 reasons, and 3 decisions. And that begins with the 3 roots. So the first root is that death is certain. That shows that Sentient beings' nature is that they die. Fire's nature is to burn upward. Sentient beings' nature is that they die. So if a being is under the influence of karma and afflictions, he or she will necessarily die. So this is the nature of a being that is under the influence of karma and afflictions. It is that they will die. So death is certain. There is it is not a certainty of when, which then gets into the second point. The time of death is uncertain. So we don't know when exactly we're going to die. Are we going to die this year? Are we going to die next year? Are we going to die later on in life? We don't have any idea when that's going to happen. We have a maximum longevity of around 100 years. And in between now and then, we don't know when we're going to die. There are places, when we look at the 4 continents in the mandala, when we're looking at the mandala that surround Mount Meru, there is one continent, Jiang Draminyen, that is certain. Beings live 1,000 years, so there's some sort of certainty relative to how long their lives will be. But in the other continents of Nu Balanchu, Lo Zambaling, and Charlu Papo, there is no certainty. Some beings live very short lives, some beings live a middle or a medium amount of time, and then other beings live very, very long lives, or long lives within the spectrum of how long one can live. So it's stated that even within this world system, that there previously beings had a very, very long lifespan. And it will actually is in a reverse will begin to reverse, and we'll get to the point where beings are only living 10 years, and then lo ju, then they got it, the gemma the lo ju. In the future.
타면 저 동시들이스. 되네야 리머 세바이나 배 처림버스. 너무 봐도 설 밤에스. 지트다니 저거든 맨와 너무 개바 도면 맞아서 처림맨로.
되네 탄다 the loja jadanju the 되네 gemma 통화 용거래 the gemma loju 용거래 gemma gemma
다자 넘어 설로 잡아 세세 Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I translated it properly. So in the future, the lifespan is going to lessen to the point where the most amount of time a being will be able to live is 10 years, and then that will reverse, and then it will go to the point where beings will live thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. So I just want to make sure I had that order correctly, because I'm not a very good area of knowledge for me, my knowledge. So then it reverses, and beings' lifespan will increase infinitely. But in this particular time where we abide in Lo Zambaling, we don't have certainty of our death. We don't know when we're going to die, and this is the second point that is made in the 3 roots. So the first root is that death is certain. We will definitely die. We're under the influence of our karma and afflictions. It's the nature of a being to die, so we will certainly die. And the second is that we don't know when we're going to die. We don't live in a continent or a world system that has any certainty of when we will or will not perish. Nipa Sumba Lama So Less so. That's number 2. The time of death is uncertain. The third is so the first is death is certain. Second, the time of death is uncertain. And then the third is that at the time of death, nothing helps except religious practice or dharma practice. So this body, it will be of no help to us. It's what we discard. Our enjoyments, our house, our car, we will be separated from. They will be of no benefit or help to us. The food, all of these things that we want, they will be of no help to us. The only thing that can help us is religious practice at that time of death. So this is the third point, or third root. Third. We are unable to bring our cars to our future lives. We're unable to bring airplanes to our future lives. We're unable to bring our friends, our parents, our enjoyments, the things that we have, our children. None of these things can be brought with us to our future lives. None of these things can help us at the time of death. In our body can't help us at the time of death. The only thing that can help us is religious practice. Right, better. So it is independence upon virtue that we engage in through our body, speech, and mind, and going for dharma, or going toward religion. Let me just start that over, I'm sorry. Going for religion or going towards the dharma means engaging in virtuous activities through one's body, speech, and mind. And in dependence upon those virtuous activities, one is led to the higher realms of cyclic existence. One is led to liberation. One is led to complete Buddhahood. In dependence upon non-virtue, one is led to the lower realms. One is led to more cyclic existence, samsara. So it's not to say that these things aren't useful or good. We need to have a car, we need to have a house. Airplanes get us places fast, but they can't help us at the time of death. That's the point. It's not to say these things aren't good or of benefit. It's to say they can't benefit or help us at death. These are the root 3.
Tambu nachi la nga kaza ngaba chewa samba tambu la sung cheda ngaba chewa samba ngaba chewa nga su ngaba chegres jusen kares cheda ngaba onla jen kangi chi du me beje da go di serva chewa de ngaba de yungres chewa de suna su jen kangi du tu mares and sanje ko nyangal de sabare raje da chung da nyetu da chung tu ko nyangal de sabres Khensur Rinpoche neba chebare nyomu ponsa ores tosu nga ko nyangal de sabayina na ngasu kawa de res juse ko de samarba ngaba chewa sama ngaba chewa ko de sarba ngaba cheda ngaba ngola jeje dudu me bas change do to my boss. Cheda lesona, and then change do to Maris. And then Lujandashi, Jawa Lanjan, Lujandashi Jawa Lanjan, and then Chawa Montes. Milijana, Chawa Yungur, Halijana, Chawa Yungur, Dinuljana, Chawa Yungure, Nazunjana, and then Chawa Yungures, Madab Sonles, Madab Sondo Izerwa, Ma Sanje Ransanje, Sanje Najan, Tujan, Gulu than the Ponze Na, Jew Peva Pensagus, and the Sanje Kunyan de Sabare, Ranger Dajon to Kunyan de Sabare, Nietu Dajon to Kunyan de Sabares, Gulu than the Ponze Nas, then the Masu Martin Cavadegas, Jew Peva Pensagus, Jew Peva Nangasu Cigarettes, Marva, Jew Peva Pensagus. What did you think down that you could in some Marva? Nasung about the cigarettes, Jusen Carasana, Sanji Kunyan live sweet ansare, Raja Dajumba to Shitare, Nedu Dajumba Shatana, and Nasukava Degres.
So the first point, or the first root, is that death is certain, the contemplation that death is certain. And then there are three aspects to that. So there are three reasons, perfect reasons that are given for that. First, the Lord of Death will definitely... so here reading from the text, meditation on the certainty of death has three aspects. First is the Lord of Death will definitely come and therefore cannot be avoided. Second, our lifetime cannot be extended and is constantly diminished. And third, while you're alive, there is little time for religious practice. So focusing on the first one, the Lord of Death will definitely come and therefore cannot be avoided. We begin to look at the masters of the past, the Buddha, the hearer vehicle practitioners, the solitary realizer practitioners, the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And we ask ourselves, where are they now, these previous beings? And we say they've passed from this world. The Buddhas have passed. The hearers have died. The solitary realizers have died or passed. So they are no longer in this world. And then it says, no matter what kind of body you assume at birth, death comes. And then there's a quote from the collection of indicative verses. And it states, if all of the Buddhas and their Pratyeka Buddha and Shravaka disciples left their bodies, what can be said about ordinary beings? So if all of these great beings, if these these holy great beings have left our worlds, where does that leave us? What will happen to us? What will become of us? So this is the first point that's made. No matter what kind of body you assume at birth, death comes.
Da yu kanto de jang chewa wan teni le song yi jero da. Kanto ne na chewa chewi matsubi sashu tene yoba ma yi te banan la me, jasui na na me, ro na si tu shu na me sa. Kaba deba yi na shewa yungu res. Ane jasu na lo de na shenegre, ro rechibu tu jidwa de na shenegres, banan de na shenegres. 다 간세 로마 가바데나 아를 데나 셴그레 다나 데나 셴그레 안네 로마 가바데나 셴그 말 주센도 코드 말베 제거 many country 가바데나 체요 말스 what did you say to could insert
okay so then we have another quote. It says from the collection, same book, same text, the collection of indicative verses. It says somewhere to live that is unharmed by death. Such a place does not exist. It does not exist in space. It does not exist in sea, nor if you stay in the midst of the mountains. So here, it's stating that there is nowhere that one can go to escape death. No matter where one is, death will always be a part of that existence. If one can live in America or one can live in China, there's nowhere that one can go to escape this death. No matter where one is, if one can stay in space, one will die there. If one lives in the sea, one will die there. One could stay in the midst of a mountain somewhere, and one will still die there. So everywhere that one goes, one will, no matter where one is, one will certainly die. So this is the point that's made here in the collection of indicative verses.
다 뒤기 잘서와 있는 테마를 버튼. 난 데비 뒤기 신경 걸로 시사버래. 안에 다다 신경 걸로 시진 버래. 마음이 뒤기 신경 걸로 놓고 신고 그래서 제자 신경을 제고 그래서 뒤를 쳐봐요 말이스. 어디 총대니 말봐. 뭐다 심이 뒤 나도야. 세제나 쳐와 체인종발라 쳐봐매바네스 되니레스 쇼당 종와 조와 지해봐 쇼당스나 비보 말봐 비보 세제가 셔사레스 비보테 세제가 쇼당 종와스나 다다 말봐 다다 세제가로 시진바레 데이르바 조로와서 레다 조 레다 그 세제가로 제사 신이시는 그래서 지해봐 군장 련데 당내 도와 당 군장 안에 신내 르 당내 르사벌 로스 컴바사번 로다 나지 니바도 유네 컴바사번 로다 나지 어두수디 레데도 대군지바 케베 대군 대답이 내수 걸로 왔더니 가서 그래 처음 답이 내수 걸로 케바서 시고 와르스 케베 또 제때 출라내지 내가 쉬어봐주여서 개발도 대신에 집에 종을 주냐나지고 그래 내기 주냐나지고 그래 안에 답이랑 성지고도 나가냐나지고 그래 출라내지 내가 집에 쉬어서 뒤죠 주냐나지고 그래
Lesser. Okay, so then it's death's destruction of living beings is no different at any point in the past or future. So the previous beings died, the beings who are abiding now will die, and the future beings to come are going to die. So this doesn't matter the time. So here it says, the wise know that all who have come and will come perish. Leave this body and go to the next life. Therefore, be sure to engage in pure behavior by abiding in the teachings. So those who have come are those who previously came and have died, and those who are here now. And then those who will come are future beings. They will all perish. Leave this body. So this body is discarded like an old house, and one moves into a new house in one's next life. So this it says, leave this body and go to the next life. So the body's discarded, and then one moves into a new body of some sort. Therefore, be sure to engage in pure behavior by abiding in the teaching. Pure behavior referring to the virtuous behavior, the virtuous practices, the practices that are found in the teachings that are shared in common with beings of small and medium capacity, and the teachings for beings of great capacity, those pathways which lead to the higher realms, the pathways which lead to liberation, those pathways which lead to complete Buddhahood. So abiding in the teaching, pure behavior is just referring to virtuous practices, and then abiding in pure behavior, engaging in virtuous practices, and then abiding in the teaching, engaging in the practices of the teaching, which are virtuous practices. So that's the meaning of this stanza. So it doesn't matter when, if it was before, now, or later, all those beings will die. And therefore, the wise know this and engage in practice because of that.
당아서 쇼단 조와 지내버스 데비시 그것이서버래 다다시 제시진버래 몸비시 그걸로 시그레스 어때네 주데 줄로 참아 길에 두서 말이스 이슈바서 그 데비시 제다 마음비시 제도 길에가요 콜라이 줘버서 버로 나바게 가면 좋아라 도마마 바이서 하마시 그것이서버래 다다시 제시진버래 레다 시제 그걸로 Shigres. Nabag Seguro, that Hindu Karelagona, Chuka Kalesan Tando.
Yishu the sentient Lama Yure, in a Shison, Kanga Shigadu.
Or Dana should be Jibared.
So the other religious traditions, in the Buddhist tradition, this is the point that's made, that all beings of previous beings, current beings and future beings had to, will, and will have to perish. So this is the point that's made within the Buddhist tradition. And the Christian tradition states a similar point, because they state, in the Buddhist tradition we have these previous lives and so forth, so it's a different interpretation. In the Christian tradition there's an idea that God has created all of these things, but there still is the fact that the previous beings died, and there is that certainty. So we have to look and see what Hinduism asserts and what other religions assert to see if this point is applicable to those traditions as well. But in the Buddhist tradition, this is the assertion, and we could compare it to other points that are made. So it's very good if we can think about what all of the religious traditions think about relative to this point. So we can increase our wisdom. We can increase our wisdom, make it vast in our knowing, our wisdom by doing so.
다 제다 저 당아 시거에서 준 편도와요 말 준타요 말이야 준타요 말이야 제가 시거에서는 가봐줘 그러다 준타요 말이스 네 마타신스 하나 소비 도드메 바스 아는 하냐래 제네 제자 신제들라 시고로마도 시아메바 저칼 도토 말이스 도드메 바스 하나 소비 도도 하나 소비 도드메 바네사 소바세 노루라 또당 두서리만 또당 제당 당아 대셔먹어지 당에는 나는 알레 모터 아버지도 되게 있으다 그 가토에 바로 제 우만베 나셔먹어지네 잘라든 되게 있어
오케이
그거요 뭐다 팬도 두서가 이제
네 여르베 네 이처럼에 모터 테나데
모터 제가 마셔봐 조르지도 도 말보다
요 마시나 요 투고 말.
해드는 요 투고 말와. 해드는 요 투고 말도 순지로.
Oh, okay. So it says, you do not escape by fleeing from death. So you can't run away from death, nor can you turn away by such things as mantras. So there is not any mantra. Then sopo garishene sumpure. That so chiran sopo. Sopo. Mongolian. Lama Svenyanjer Suralang Chishangate the what Trugre Chikshena.
Da Udel Delegan Bomulegua. Chedal Jubiteg Maris, Dakanda Sanji Pujam, Jabula Dambalis, Jabal Damba Sanji and Doinjirova, or then the Pujam Dopo. Shoes in the rich of Jayovina, and the sheet on Satakan Luna, and Dren Tayo. Then I cheating, guiding. 구비 동에 말이야. 어때지들 준타요 말. 제가 신경을 껴는 그래. 제가 신경 나요 그래. 신을 그래. 구바스는 말이야. 많이 주는 구바 그리고 라제들 때문에 구바 그걸로 용거라서. 제가 다시 동에라 수바. 어떤 사마 라제들 때문에 용거라서 구바 말이야. 된아지 레다 녀모고 진짜 신제들라 제가 나지 동에라서 구바도 용거래스 구바 가토요 말이스 쇼제네르 르사와 템바 힘부터 템바 톰 힘부터 템바 마지바스 망게바 네 페메바 신도 티베지도 지도 두바제 나라 리진 살로데자 신다나세 자다 신다 신게바 자다 신다 신게바 다 로마 타제 다세 제 소자 정부 타제 샤마 타진 원에 조베스 저베 조베이나 전 다가마로스 조베 조바스 전 다가마레스 또제 도바 아는 가서 마셰시 비와레스 초콜릿이나 마저긴스나 또연나 도토 마로다 또제 도바하사 아는 너제 안 잘라는 무슨 되게 하셔 먹어지스 모터 주도 되게 하셔 먹어지스 컴바 용테스나 도토 마로 너제 도바하스 제스나 다드네 잘라는 또 인지로다 하다 아는 배 하게 가도 말에 팽게 가도 말
Lesson.
마셔봐도 팽 두그레스 근데 쇼를 되는 그 도도 말보다 도벌 하와는 많이 놓스 어디 손지 어디 손고 하와는 많이 놓서 가정에서 드시는 말ပဲ몸으로 두담불로 쇼야 뒤마도요 말스 안나 조신 살아봤다는 로 뒤잡아 줘야 줘버다 근데 그 또바 이나 코 내가 여지로 가서 답이 되다 그러면서 렐하고 말했어 하와는 많이 놓스 근데 이 사람은
So we aren't able to go and purchase a way out of death. It's just from before. There's not a way that we can take our car or some of our things and try to give them to someone and they can chant something and we won't have to die. So there's not possible to do that. So here it says, you do not escape by fleeing from death, nor can you turn death away by such things as mantras. And then there's a quote from the Advice to the King's Sutra. It says, for example, 4 great mountains from the 4 directions, being hard, firm, solid cord, indestructible, unsplittable without fissures, extremely resilient and massed into one, rise up into the sky and destroy the earth. All the grasses, trees, trunks, branches, leaves, and all sentient beings, living beings and creatures are crushed to dust. When these mountains come, it will not be easy to quickly run away or turn away with turn them away with force, wealth, magic substances, mantras, or medicines. So here it's saying that there's no way to get out of death, and it's comparing it to this example of all of the 4 great mountains and all this 4 great directions mass into one and rise up to the sky and destroy the earth. And so there is nothing that could be done at that moment. You couldn't use any kind of force because it would be more forceful. There's no possibility. You couldn't buy your way out of it. Wealth could do nothing. One couldn't bring one's things. One couldn't give one's car and say to stop this from happening. One can't use any kind of magic or something to stop it. Nor will mantras or some sort of medicine or medicinal substance be able to stop it. Likewise, death can't be stopped by these things in the same way. And then it says here, it's not easy to quickly run away from them or turn them away with the force or wealth. So I'm going to just read the rest of it. I don't think Rinpoche did, but I'm going to read the rest of it because he went down to the end of it. So it'll just be easier in this context. So it says then, Great King, in the same way these 4 frights come, is not easy to quickly run away or turn away with force. He read here, wealth, substances, mantras, or medicine. What are the 4? They are aging, sickness, death, and decay. Great King, aging comes and destroys youth, sickness comes and destroys health, decay comes and destroys all that is excellent, and death comes and destroys life. It is not easy to run away from them or to turn them away with the force of wealth or to quell them with substances, mantras, or medicine. And the reason here it uses that it is not easy is because we find the story of Nagarjuna. When he was a small child, and he was brought to a palm reader, and the palm reader said that he was only going to be able to live to 7 years old, and then he was brought to the great adept Sarahapa at Namgyal Monastery, and he was given the prescription, the method for extending his lifespan. So we find the cases like that where there is a procedure that was able to lengthen the life or slow down the decay, but the yene gombolodro the shikama son she dunjapa dene dronson.
저를 gombolodro tamolo dyma to yama. Then ko 도신 살아봤다는 처리 tamolo 달로 dynja. 로 자자자 난 dynja 받으시고.
Dene kon dronson.
Then dronson.
So he did live to 700 years old through this practice, but then passed at 700 years old. So it looks like we're at a good time to stop. So we'll stop for a few moments.